Hi, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs, and I am part of the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, and just thought I would share my first page of my book, my title page, with you and show you a little bit about it. This is my page, and this fabric is from a very old fabric that I had, well, I guess not that old, but when my twins were little, this was a very special fabric that I used as part of their bedding. I had made them pillow shams out of it, and I still had a little panel left and love it, so I thought I would use it for my cover. And so I just embellished that. It's such a pretty background. It's really easy to embellish. I just added some little tiny buttons here and some floss in the centers so that they almost looked like flowers. And the little tiny flowers here are little velvet French flowers that I had gotten on Etsy, and I love them. I just sort of stitched those down with floss to give a little dimension and also a little color difference too. And this lace is part of a collar from my mom, and it was just so beautiful. I almost hated to cut it up, but I thought it's better to see it here on the page and not in a drawer somewhere. And this was a little trim that I had gotten from Etsy that I kind of couched down and added a little bit of extra color there with the sort of a salmon color floss on the little tiny yellow flowers. I added some of Lori Holt's buttons here just for some interest. And this pink stripe was part of the original panel, so I tore those pieces off for part of the border. And this is 1930s fabrics, and I just thought it went so nicely with this little panel. So I just added French knots and little straight stitches on his patch, some French knots here, a little bit of stitching here, my title, Rebecca's Journal of Stitchery. Just little tiny touches here and there that I thought really kind of brought the page to life. And this hat, the bunny didn't have a hat on. I had cut this hat out of fabric and appliqued that on and kind of enhanced his eye a little. So that's basically it. That's my page, my title page, and I really enjoyed doing this. It was just so much fun. It took a lot longer to do than to tell about it. It took a long time. But, and this is my page number 1 for January. This was a 12 fabric that I had. I think it's from French General, and I used that as part of the background, and then some other pieces of red fabric that I had. And I added some lace, and I had some vintage rose flowered fabric, and I just cut some roses from there and just stitched those on, and then did a little bit of embroidery over those. Same up here, this was kind of a rose, and I added some Alençon lace here, some of Lori Holt's little buttons. I think she calls them her cute little buttons. I love them. And I got this in a package from Etsy just as sort of a gift with something that I had ordered, just some little odd piece of trim, and I loved it, so I stitched that on. And down here I not couched, but kind of scrunched and stitched some French seam binding that was hand dyed. The edges are hand dyed, and I really loved that. So I thought that added, and I put some little flowers there at the bottom so it looked like he was in a garden in front of the house. And these flowers were on the fabric, and I just went over them with embroidery stitches. I added this flower. This tree wasn't here. I drew this tree on, which I thought it kind of needed something to anchor it. There was this lace here, and I needed something to anchor it on this side. So I added that tree and some leaves. And the bunny was from a very pretty fabric, quilting fabric that I have, and I cut him out and stitched him on, and then outline stitched him so he would show up a little bit better. So that is my January page, and I really enjoyed both of them, and I've already stitched them on. They're in on their pages for the book, and I'm just now doing the sampler pages for the stitching, and this is one page that I've done of the sampler stitches, and I don't think I have them in the order that Rachel or Sarah had them in, but I just decided to put them wherever I wanted. And so that was kind of fun to make them a little bit different, add a little interest rather than just lines of stitching. I thought I'd make them kind of interesting little boxes. And here is the second, this will be the second 10 stitches. I've just drawn up my blank page, and I'll add the rest of the stitches here. That'll be next. And so that'll go in my book like this. So it'll be the title page, and then my sample of stitching pages, and then January's block, which I didn't denote that it was January. I don't really, it doesn't matter to me what month it was made in. I just like to look at the stitching. I don't care what about any chronological order. And so I have started my neutrals and vintage. It's got neutrals and vintage lace on it, block for the fancy flowers. And on that one, I will put a little, sort of like a nosegay. It'll go like this on the block, and it'll have the flower, the fancy flowers will be up here. So we'll see how this, I can pin that on. It'll kind of look like that, and then the flowers will be coming out of the little nosegay holder. And I just added some little pieces of music fabric because I love music, and just different little pieces of lace. This was a vintage dresser scarf that I had gotten on Etsy, and I loved it. It was tiny, and it was just a little bit bigger than the page, so I just folded it and stitched it and cut off the rest. I saved that piece, so I'll use that somewhere else, but just made it so it would fit this page, and it was so beautiful. I didn't really need to do too much else to it, just other than some lace, some trim here and there. I thought I would let the flowers maybe be the star here on this page, but that's where I am so far. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Sarah and Rachel for this little Journal of Stitchery project. It's really, really been fun. I have really enjoyed sitting in my chair at night and stitching, coming up with ideas, and also looking at everyone else's to see what they're coming up with. But thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again when this page is done. Bye.